Today's Skill Bite here. In this video we're going to work on the left fender on the Chevelle. This is the one that can be saved. There's a ding right here. We'll talk about that when I show you the inside. There's some trim holes, easy enough to fill in. There were emblem holes that have been bondoed over. You'll see the worms on the back when we show you the other side. And there's the rust. We'll be patching this, filling in all the holes. I am looking at getting rid of the side marker lights. I don't mind the front ones. Front ones look okay. They're down out of the way. The lights on the inside, that's great. But the back ones, yeah, I know that this is black, so it sits out more. But it's a piece on the outside of the fender. Tell me that that wouldn't look so much better without that light there. Let me know in the comments. Should I just make it look, you know, new like it's supposed to, stock? Or should I just weld a patch panel in there, no side marker lights? Let me know what you think. Looking at the inside, I was able to get out most of these bolts, 1/2 inch. So for this one, you can put a 9/16 open end on the back here, but it's so tight. It's not wanting to break loose, it's wanting to turn, and I don't want to mangle it. So I'm going to let it soak some more. The good news is the only plastic worms I'm seeing are emblem holes. That's good. Now there's a little bit of heels right here. I have to hammer dolly that out, but it looks to be very minor from this side. Now right here, there is a ding. Back up a little so you can hopefully see it in a GoPro. Alright, so that's going to be a little tricky to knock out because of this brace, but I'm sure we can take care of it. Worst case, we can remove the spot weld. Looks like it's just maybe 3 spot welds there holding it. Worst case, we can pull the brace out and do it. So I think we're pretty good, except of course the rust over here, but the inside brace is still solid, so that's good. Not so good, but we knew that. If you're going to patch these properly, you gotta get rid of all of the rust, all of the weak metal. So we know it goes at least up to here. We know it goes at least over to here, which is probably exactly where the brace is behind it, because that traps dirt and water, then sets in it. So we know we're going to have to go at least here down to here. But look, this is the patch panel. That patch panel goes much higher, and there's no reason to skimp on this if you want it to last. That's one of the differences between a good repair job and a repair job. Want to get all that rust out, and we got to fix this brace back here so it stops rusting and hopefully won't rust, at least for, you know, a few more decades. So what do we want to use to get rid of the paint without doing any additional damage? Well, if you saw my video on tools that I recommend that work for me on body work, you know that a strip disc and a wire wheel are my go-tos. They're not going to hurt the metal anymore. They're not going to thin it, but yet they'll take off the paint. They'll even take off bondo if necessary. So, gonna make a mess. All right, here's one I totally forgot about on the tools that I like video. Watch this. Right there. I forget what it's called. It's a magic something. And it allows you to remove and install cutting discs or whatever on your grinder without having to use the wrench. It's that quick. And that does clear. Link will be in the description. Safety. Yeah. It's also going to make a mess. So, wire wheel. Pull that paint right off. When it's loose, I should specify that. You notice it'll thin it, but it doesn't really remove it. So it's pretty safe. Strip disc. Let's see if I can do this. See if I can do this. Strip disc, one-handed. Yeah. Metal, it's not thin. So this is what I'm going to be using. A couple minutes later. And no sparks, by the way. So I forgot. This actually strip disc will help find your spot welds without removing metal. Now this is going to be replaced, so it's not a big deal there, but it will. Now there are spot welds in here. This looks like it's pretty clean. Obviously you can see there's rust all in here. This is the top of the trim, and it's just little pitted on the surface where water would sit on that top of that trim, right in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in here like so. I haven't decided exactly, but that's where I got to get the metal out. Now, some people will cut right on the edge here and keep this, and right here and keep this. I haven't decided yet which direction I'm going to go. Deal with spot welds or deal with stitch welds. The reason that you would leave it is because you know that this one fits. Since it's the original, you know that it fits. So what you definitely want to do is compare it to the patch panel to make sure that it's same shape and all. So strip disc works great on the paint. Strip disc will remove bondo, but it kind of gets it all, you know, kind of gets into the crevices and such. Wire wheel will take out the bondo a little better in my opinion. So once I got the paint off, fix the wire wheel. I don't know if it's any faster or not, but it might save the strip disc from wearing out. And that is a little thick right there actually. So I went this direction, now I'm switching to this direction, and you'll notice it starts popping the pieces off. Cross hatchet. Now this type of wire wheel, much denser, it will actually remove paint also. So, you know what wire wheel you got. Get all the bondo out. And make sure you get it everywhere that it might be. All right, I'm going to start with the hammer and dolly work. I want to make sure that I can get this straight. Again, I want this to be a high dollar build. Very, very, very thin skim coat. No bondo if at all is the goal. And so this isn't bad. It still has the line pretty much. So I'm pretty sure I can work this back out. Get it nice and smooth. This will be the hard part. Ooh, and right there, that's right behind the brace. But also the holes where the emblems are, these always get pushed in, so you will need to tap them out a little bit, or you'll want to at least, I hope. It's not perfect yet, but I did get this knocked out some, and that a little bit better. And it's hard to tell because of the different angles and stuff of the scratches. It's actually pretty good. There's still a few spots. There's the body line. That needs knocked down. That needs knocked down. Anyway, I'm not a hammer dolly guy, so I'm just a DIY guy. So I'm pretty happy with this so far. It'll take some more work, but I know that this is usable. All right, I'm not going to spend any more time on the hammer dolly stuff. There are hammer-ons and hammer-offs. I had no idea that it was so much like playing guitar. So this rust is actually from the inside out, so you don't necessarily see it yet on the outside. Now I see this. This tells me that there's obviously rust inside here worse. So possibly here I can stop. Now I did mark my panel. My patch panel goes all the way up to there. So I can go up to there if needed. If you had a crease body line, you could actually, so like here, you could cut it right under it, and that'd help with warpage when you go to weld, but I don't. This is all curved. So I'm thinking somewhere around here. I may go higher. And the brace, the inner brace lines up perfectly with these rust spots. Well, that's because that's where the water and stuff was trapped. So if you go a little ways away, you probably don't have rust. But again, don't undercut it. So I may widen it. I got a panel, so I might as well, actually. Now, I have ground already using the strip disc and a wire wheel marked where the spot welds that I could see were. And then I used the punch to put a little tiny dimple in the middle. And this punch, it's not one that you put on and hammer, although you might be able to. You just put it here. Now, how am I going to do this? It needs more pressure. So you push it here, you put it here. Hold on. I don't think you're going to be able to really see much. Just put it right on the X. And it puts the little spot in it. I'm going to mark this one. And you can set how much force you want on it. Right now it's set pretty high, so These are really nice. Now, and there's the dots, the little pilots they make. I almost missed that one. That was a hole for an emblem. Yeah, with it flipped over, you can see better where the rust is because the rust is coming from the inside out. There's your brace. It's the skin on the outside. You can see it's got surface rust. Surface rust. So that's not a big deal. You can fix that easy with just a converter. Or even possibly just sand that off. I don't think that's deep at all, just right here on the surface. But it's right in line with this circle and a screw hole for some reason. So you could go like so, and then over. Take a light, look under there, see how far up it goes. Or instead of doing a cut like this and then like this, if you got the patch panel, is it easier just to patch it across? That's the question. What do you think? All right, after looking at my options, honestly, I think either would be okay, but I have decided I'm gonna actually cut it and use the whole panel, the whole new panel. I put it up, sized it. I mean, it's all the same size, everything lined up. And the panel has, the new panel's got the brace and everything here where this goes, so we're good. And the only thing it doesn't have is hole for the trim, which is fine. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to put the eyebrows on yet, but most likely I will have the eyebrows, but I can drill a fresh hole. I will need a weld like so. I'll have one straight cut line. I won't have this little funky cut here. You always overcut those, and then when you go to weld, you blow through. The actual welding will end up being pretty much the same. If you straighten that line up, it's almost the amount of same line. But that'll give me access all the way up to here on this brace, so I can make sure there's no rust behind it. So that is the plan. I've got the patch panel. It's the same gauge. Fits right. Let's use it. Also found right here, it's rust. So that brace is rusted through. So yeah. Now the one thing to be mindful of, if you do replace this, the whole thing, is make sure you get it lined up. And I don't mean side to side, I mean this direction. The side with the brace is pretty easy because, well, you got the brace. But this side, you gotta, if you see how this is setting, if I cut this, this is gonna wanna fall in, which is gonna push this down. All right, safety. I also got a fiberglass blanket over the part of the Chevelle that might get hit. You're not putting like glass or anything. Also, I marked these very conservative. This is much shorter than the actual patch, and I want to cut on the inside here so I don't have like a V when I'm done. That'd be bad. Try not to get too much heat when you do this, but that can also work your panel. weld for this. And I have this supported under the brace. There. Now this won't droop when it cuts. Oh. Make sure you don't cut into the brace underneath. Alright, I did make a mistake. Definitely made a mistake. I meant to do the spot welds first. Oops. Yeah, I can't believe I did that. That actually really sucks because I did cut into the brace underneath. Right there. Alright, let's try it with this first. Doing all right. And I am using the stick stuff. Basically cools it a little bit. You want to drill it just enough until it is about to or just breaks through. Push in hard. Twist it a little. So you got safety glasses on. Okay, let's switch to the other style. Okay, this type. Now I put that lube on it, and I will warn you that this does make it walk easier. But I did the little starter dimple there. You don't want to go too fast. Heat is your enemy. Although I could use some more in this garage. Nobody has insulation, the R19 for the ceiling. There. Okay. Just go through. What is going on? All right, so I just went right through, drilled all the way through on both of those. Yeah, I didn't, be aware. There's a little, guess I'll be welding those back in place if I don't lose them. It's a lot harder to fill with this, how deep you are. I'm scared. I don't want to go all the way through again. Really awkward angle. I'm gonna do the ones on the bottom here to release it. Well, here. So there's a gap right here between them. Use it to your advantage. So I already broke that one loose. I'm gonna take this one. All right. Easily split those. All right, there's gotta be one more. If we can find it. That's not going to work. Okay, it's got to be right there. Got to be one right there. So all these others are broken loose, and I'll tell you right now, I much prefer just the bit, as in this to this, because I can tell when it's broke. When I use this one here that's on the drill now, it's like I can't tell when it's through the first surface. It doesn't give. There's not a feel like with the bit. That's why I drilled all the way through there. And you can't see it either when you pull it back. Also, you're gonna have to grind these off. Whereas with the bit, you don't. But I will tell you that a bit is gonna be a lot more expensive because you just got the bit when it's worn out. You gotta replace the whole thing. So there are pros and cons. One here, pretty sure one there, one there. Warming up. Now you can drill a 1/8 hole for that bit to keep it centered. I'm trying to avoid that. Which will take longer? Drilling the hole or working around not drilling the hole? And I'm trying to see if I can get a better feel for this style. It does make a mess. Okay, I felt that one a little bit, heard it too. Oh, I'm pushing here, so it's pushing it. So maybe if you had something pulling to separate them. That one's just walking hard. Of course, it's the last one. Okay, I got to cut just slightly more right here, and that'll pull off. All right, got the old one off and the new one on. Well, sitting on it. So there was a spot weld right there at the cut, holding it, so I ended up cutting into the bottom brace. That's disappointing, but I am gonna have to grind those. Of course, I gotta clean all this up and put some rust converter on there, and we'll have some weld primer on weld through primer in some places. And of course, this is cut way short so I can get it fit right. Well, we're 30 minutes in, a little over, and I've still got a lot of video left. So we're gonna call this part one. Hopefully it'll just be a two-parter, not a three-parter, but we'll see. Now that was actually, I think it was February 1st when I was doing all that Fender work. It is now May 16th. So yeah, I'm in t-shirts and shorts. But I hope you found it helpful in some way. If so, please like, subscribe, comment, or leave a tip on my coffee page. Link is in the description. And we'll see you next week.